welcome to the Theories of Nothing channel. If you're watching this, Roy and I are going to be discussing the channel itself. It's an evolving thing, so we're actually going to talk about what it is. We're trying to figure it out as we go along. Theories of Nothing sort of emerged within another community called Theories of Everything. So I want to do a shout out to Kurt Dimungle, who basically created an ecosystem of people that could come together and discuss their own theories of everything, as he created a contest that allowed people to present their theories and share their ideas with other like-minded people. So as Kurt interviews very prominent thinkers in academia and in other fields, clearly it's something he's too busy with that he can't really interview other people, that because there's lots of people in the world. So as we started to come together and interview each other and share each other's ideas and things like that, it seems that there was another community kind of forming for that reason. And also another reason, the Theories of Everything channel is very physics-based, science-based, mathematics-based, whereas the community that's coming together within the Discord chat has been more metaphysics-based, consciousness-based theories. And there it is. So Roy and I kind of also combined our own theories as well, which was interesting. And so there's lots going on, and we decided, hey, let's just start this channel. Kurt gave it the go-ahead and his blessing, which is nice. And I'm very excited to figure out what this is. So, Roy, I was just wondering if you can give your view as to what you think this Theories of Nothing community. I guess we could call it the Theories of Nothing community now. That is what we're naming it. It looks like. What's your outlook on it? What is it? What's happening? What's emerging?
Yeah, well, the seed of it was that contest, which was great to get people in the community more involved. So I've been harassing him to try to get on for an interview for months, and I want the non-academics to be represented. I want the community to be represented. Like you said, this could maybe be the yin to that yang, right? Because the yin is more about metaphysics than it is physics. And the non-academics have a voice, because there's a lot of really, really smart non-academic people out there. Imagine that. So I would hope that this is going to run kind of in parallel with the Theories of Everything, but in a way, and ours will be more of the consciousness side. I don't even like using the word consciousness, but maybe we can form our own little definitions about that word, so that progress can be made rather than semantics. So I guess that's it in a nutshell. I really think that our theory, the theory that we're talking about, is a little more comprehensive than just the physics, trying to unify quantum mechanics with gravity. Ours is more, like I said, comprehensive and fundamental, I think, because to me, a theory of all should be it should be final, it should be concluding all other questions. It should cease all questing within the questioner. It should conclude all searching within the searcher, from my perspective anyway. So our theory...
I think I know what you're talking about. In the way how I would say it, that metaphysics, the metaphysical community, it includes the material reductionist ideas.
Well, obviously there is a subjective interpretation. There's a subjective aspect to all of this, and I think that needs to be included in the theory. If the theory doesn't affect your life.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, is that it seems as if though people who believe in, okay, to say it quickly, I would say theories of everything fits into theories of nothing, but not the other way around. Like
Yeah.
material reductionists don't want to talk about metaphysics, which is kind of strange because that's precisely what they do. It's called theoretical physics. I mean, they have to, so it's kind of interesting, and I think that it's starting to close that gap, that rift. We discussed that in the conference, right? Like one of the main topics was whether metaphysics and material reductionism can be reconciled, and I think it can. I mean, I think they're starting to wake up and realize, like, hey, we need to discuss metaphysics here. We need to do a lot more philosophy in science.
I think that reconciliation is actually quantum mechanics, but the particle physicists want to just ignore all that and just continue on pretending that there's particles out there. So a lot of what we can do,
yeah, well, it's
is we can actually question the status quo, whereas academics really can't, right? Academics can't question academia, right? Like, not really. Whereas we can, right? We have more freedom than people who are trying to get tenure yet and trying to get a paycheck from this stuff. So I think in a way we can be far more objective and a little more free with what we say.
That's true, but unfortunately, we're also not seen as credible because we don't have formal training. And look, I'm okay with admitting that, like we don't have the same kind of rigor, but it doesn't mean we don't have value to bring to the table. And also, like, I think a lot of people in academia, if anyone, it is people in academia who are waking up the most and saying, look, I'm not free to practice. So like Brett Weinstein in his last interview with Rogan, he said, I don't think I can do academics in academia right now. And this is why he sort of like took himself out. And also, like so someone from the community asked me to interview his friend who is a math PhD and a doctor, like a medical doctor, to interview him on his theory, which it's something, it has something to do with idomorphism. Anyway, he's writing his own book, and I think like more and more academic people will also want to, I think, be interviewed, the ones that aren't prominent anyway, as well, because they're saying, well, look, I have my own ideas that I can't really divulge inside my academic community because it doesn't fit in with the orthodoxy, and so, but they still want a platform that is, free and accepting. I think this is something that theories of nothing could provide, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, we can perhaps this channel can get academics talking to non-academics, maybe bridge the gap between academia and the general public, because Kurt always has just a bunch of academics on, right? It's one PhD talking to another PhD, right? And I mean, the odd time he'll get, when it's the metaphysical, obviously, because there aren't a lot of metaphysical, well, I guess the philosophy people, but yeah, just I hope that we can run in parallel with TOE and maybe merge every now and then. I'd love to get in a discussion with some of these PhD dudes, but how do you do it, right?
Yeah, well, I'd like it too, and I think it's a matter of showing them that we are credible and that we do have something to contribute. That's really it. And Tyler Goldstein it's kind of ironic because Tyler Goldstein got a special honorable mention in the TOE contest, and all he did was present his view as to what a theory of everything is and what constitute a theory of everything, and why. I don't know if it was in his contest video or not, or if it was in another one, but he was discussing why like academia is so hard to penetrate, and it was interesting. He was saying, he was also talking about why non-academics have a difficult time being accepted, and it's because we field jump, and so we automatically get discredited because they're like, well, you're not a physicist and you're making connections between physics and biology, and like, why are you doing that? You're not an expert in either. But it's like we do have the ability to merge fields, and that is what a unifying theory is all about. You necessarily have to not specialize, but like academics is all about hyper specialization, whereas what we're doing is the opposite. We are about integration, right? This is the kind of stuff that only tenured professors usually have the ability to do after 30, 40 years of just following orthodoxy. Then they can start to, like, fields merge. But after 30 years, how much originality do you have left? You know?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
like, for me, from my perspective, well, I've studied directly my own consciousness, like consciousness directly, not taking measurements of brain frequencies, but just sitting there, thousands and thousands of hours of watching and witnessing and investigating consciousness, right? So I think that our channel is probably better equipped to answer the questions about consciousness than a particle physicist. What is, like, why would a particle physicist understand anything about life?
Yeah.
Right? Or
Well,
give it life advice.
yeah, there's a fundamental problem there whereas they think that they can almost,
They think they know about reality
sure,
just because they know about particle physics, but I don't think so.
yeah,
It's not
and it's kind of
necessary.
ironic because they're away. Sorry, because my internet is horrible here. I don't know why. It's like perfect timing to have bad internet, right? By the way, just for people to have some context as to like how this is going to work, I'm going to be in different places at different times with various, you know, levels of noise around me and stuff like that. Hopefully, it'll get better as the channel kind of grows. But right now, yeah, I'm in a hostel, so that's why there's noise. I just wanted to give that caveat or that
It adds personality.
yeah. So yeah, it does. But like right now, you're lagging, and I don't know if the recording itself will be like laggy or not. But I
Okay.
can't. Some people don't hear you here. Anyway, so the issues that we're outlining, I think a lot of people are already aware of it, and they're frustrated with it, and it's on both sides, right? It has nothing to do with specific individuals, I would say. I mean, like I said in the conference, if you are contributing to these problems, then you are, and you're aware of it. But I don't think it's in your benefit to continue doing that, even if you think like. Here's the thing: truth is not like the goal in academia anymore. I don't think it is. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. I mean, if utility is what the goal is, then let's just say that that's what it is. But let's also include a wing or a sector within academia, or not, or in general, where truth really is the fundamental motivation for the activities that we're carrying out, and so that we can actually get to understanding this consciousness thing. Because, like you said, quantum physicists, they're looking at, and they're like, hey, we have to understand consciousness now. So now they're linking up with what, neuroscientists, and they're trying to understand the quantum effects on neurons and stuff, thinking that that's going to be any better. But the whole point is that you cannot measure the same way you think you should be able to measure consciousness. You can't measure it that way. That's the whole point. That's what quantum mechanics is telling you. And yet they're trying, and they're spinning their wheels.
I think that quantum mechanics is a message. It's a metaphor telling us something. It's more about the information, and they're just ignoring it. They're just ignoring what the message is because they want to continue being a physicist and making a paycheck. So what I hope that we can do on this channel is see what's beyond, like actually listen to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and Bell's theorem and Gödel's theorem and see what's beyond that, right? Like maybe science actually has reached its pinnacle. I think that that's what quantum mechanics is basically saying, is that we've gone as far as we possibly can with thought, like with thought itself. So why can't we investigate what's possibly beyond that? Why can't we say we've gone as far as we can? These things are telling us within the system itself that we've gone as far as we possibly can. And to keep going on is just a hamster or a dog chasing its tail. And now what's next? Like, what could be possibly the new method of investigation rather than science? Because I think
Okay.
science has told science it's done.
So what you said there, this is where paradoxism comes in, because you said thoughts. It seems like there's a bedrock that's happening here. We've reached bedrock when it comes to thought. If we continue using thought to try to understand consciousness, we're just creating more thoughts, and that's not really investigating the root of consciousness. You have to investigate it from another angle, which is awareness, right? Just pure meditation. But this is something we've done for thousands of years. It already exists. People have done it is a science. Like the way the Hindus look at it, they see it as a science, and they, I think, always have in a way.
It is meditation is the science of investigating consciousness.
Exactly. And so
not measuring brainwaves.
So now what I'm saying is it is paradoxical, because you do have to use thoughts in a way to investigate how we can merge the investigations of consciousness through meditation and awareness with what we've been finding about the thought created world in a way. Like, how can you merge that, or have the two reflect each other so that we understand we have a unifying theory and we can come to a conclusion here. So it is paradoxical. We kind of need to use thought, which is why we're doing this whole channel, in order to conclude thoughts.
Yeah, the final theory is concluding. I include conclusion in that because to me, the final theory must render all other questions irrelevant or redundant, right? Because
or reconciled.
What's that?
Or reconciled.
Yeah, but thought will never reconcile thought. A thought will not come in that will render all other thoughts unnecessary. It's will come in saying that, but again, it's already been said. Like, I really believe
what I'm saying is, I think it's possible for thought to lead you to the experience that you need to experience in order to conclude thinking about it, and to really have the concepts of a unified idea of the
thought needs to be completely exhausted. Like, and that's what I think it's telling us, right? With these.
Sure, but that's what I'm trying to say is, what are we doing right now? We're using thoughts to try to bring people to that. So it's paradoxical, and that's why I was saying paradoxism it could be a useful tool, because really it's more about the individual. If you think about it, maybe there are going to be some amazing effects from many individuals and or all understanding this. Like, already I think the Eastern cultures are quite, well, I don't know, it doesn't really reflect in their politics, but sometimes it kind of does in their economics. Like, it's amazing the kind of stuff that they've been able to do in the past. When individuals have a greater understanding of the nature of reality and they're at peace. But at the same time, we have to realize that we are in a world with limitations and complexities and so on. So I don't know if a theory of everything, if it really were to disseminate into everyone and everyone were to really understand it and practice it, whether it would really make the world perfect. I don't think it would, but I think it would restore balance. Or it's not even that it would restore, I think that's what's happening. It's like, whether we're discussing it or not, the nature of reality is bringing us to always establishing a balance in some way. So we might be in a part of reality where it seems like, hey, there's no balance right now, but that might in fact be what is occurring insofar as creating the balance or bringing the singularity into being, or whatever it is that you want to talk about. Like, it's kind of amazing how in a way, there's nothing to be done. like, but we're doing it. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's a very strange paradox.
The not doing must be done.
Exactly. And yet we have to be doing this in order to understand that and then to do it, to put it to practice. Like, I'm starting to exhaust my thoughts so much that, I'll be a bit candid here, but I am going through my third burnout. I'm 31. That comes from thinking. Burnout is a mental thing. And then it's like your mind is so tired, it says, you don't want to stop? All right, I'm going to fuck with your body. And you're not going to be able to walk around or think or do anything. So, just so you can shut up a little bit because I'm exhausted. So that is kind of ironic. Like I think that paradoxes in my philosophy is about trying to help people get into a loop of thoughts that can help them move towards the practice of non-thought, of non-conceptuality, and that they can be like understanding, because it's experienced. It is an experience. The theory of everything, or the theory of, is really a theory of nothing, which is why we're here and we're talking about this channel being a theory of nothing, because ultimately, if you want to have conclusion, if you want to understand the nature of reality and have truth, like absolute truth, it's going to be experienced.
Yeah,
it has to be experienced.
You can't know something fully by just reading about it or being taught about it, right? You can't.
You're limited.
Basketball when you've played basketball, not by reading about basketball.
It's straightforward logic, very simple.
It's all this. All very simple. This is all very simple.
But
in order to get balance, we just need to stop. There's just too much motion, either mental or physical. And the remedy to that is to just fucking stop.
Right. But here's the thing. Like, if we know that we can't know everything, because that's very clear, we're limited.
Yeah.
Then why do you try to know everything?
I know why. I actually know why, but I'm not going to get into that because we'll go 2 more hours. But why, even though there's Bell's theorem, uncertainty principle, and Gödel's theorem, why do people continue? That's a big question. Like, right? Like, why? I think that this channel needs to talk about the why far more than the other questions.
Yeah, so we can discuss that too. But the point is to point people to that very clear contradiction, that bad paradox, that if you know you can't know everything, then why is it that you think that a theory that concludes everything is something that can be known? And you're trying to do that. No, it's something that has to be experienced. And that's why my infinity limited equation is what it is. It is the limit of your ability to think or to conceptualize, to perceive. We have a limited perception. We can't consume all the information. To truly feel satisfied, you would literally have to be able to consume all the information into your brain, which is impossible. Therefore, you have to be
and conception are both
limited. You have to experience yourself as the consciousness to truly have all of the information and realize that there is nothing in a way. And nothing is everything, and then you start to understand it from a conceptual point of view, and that's what the equation is about. So I'm kind of plugging my philosophy here, but I think this channel will have a little bit of us talking about our own philosophies, but that's the whole point. I want more people to come together and have their points of view when it comes to how they're using metaphysics to try to understand what we're discussing here.
And I would like to touch on what is the purpose of thought itself? Like, we've kind of assumed thought to be some sort of path of truth or connection to the physical realm. But I think at the most fundamental level, there's a different purpose for thought. And it's not what we think it is. So we can get into that in this.
Yeah, there's so much. That's the thing I want to do.
Itself, if you don't understand what the purpose of thought itself at its most fundamental level, then I think we're going to end up where we've ended up.
Exactly. If you don't understand the tool that you're using to understand the world around you, then you're don't actually understand.
You're going to misuse the tool.
and that's the thing. Like we have to observe consciousness. It's the most fundamental you can get.
Just
and yet,
observe. Just observe without thinking. That's how to. If you're going to investigate the thought process itself and the validity of thought itself, you need to look at it from a thought-free state.
exactly.
This is where academia cannot go.
Yeah.
Academia and science cannot go there because it's all thought and measurement.
Well, I think they can as individuals. That's the point.
So the science itself cannot go there, but the scientist can.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if we can really start to get them to understand that, and then we can come together, they can continue their science. In fact, I think their science will be markedly improved. Like, you know, standard deviations that are maybe infinite. I think that it's like I said. I think it would be a technology to truly experience, to have individuals experience the theory of all, the theory of nothing. I think then they would be able to apply that within their activities, whatever it is. It would be so transcendental and fundamental. You could apply it in your life, and your love life, and your businesses, and your technology.
Yeah, science is nothing but a bunch of scientists, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say is like I think if you can prove to academia that a theory of nothing is ultimately how they're going to be perhaps capable of reconciling quantum mechanics and classical physics, for example, because that has nothing to do with the nature of reality. It does, but it doesn't explain everything. It doesn't give conclusion and define truth. It just tells you what the relationship is between quantum mechanics and classical physics. So that's what I'm trying to say is I want to. This leads me to something that might contextualize this channel. There's those 6 things that I think we discussed in the conference that really is something that is required to observe when it comes to a theory of nothing or a theory of everything, which was the what, the who, the how, the where, the when, and of course the why at the very end. It's like the whole purpose for everything. So to contextualize it, go a little bit deeper. Someone might say, what do you mean by who? Because the what is trying to understand the object of something, right? It's like a separation. The what. What implies that.
Yeah, science is the what, the how. Sure.
Well, I think there's a link between. I'm trying to show the link between what and who, because as soon as you say what, well, you are implying an observer, and that's where who comes in, the identity. So I am the one who is dictating what, and I'm trying to define what. So a theory has to observe the what and then the who. So to see like, okay, what am I observing? And then what is observing? The identity is important. So the identity is the who. And then, so we have the who, the what, then we have the how, of course. So how does this relationship occur? How does reality emerge? So on. And this is all metaphysics, you know. And then you have the where and the when. That's where physics comes in. That's where science people come in.
Well, the how, science tries to explain the how as well.
Exactly. And so it does, but the how within the how. See, because like
within the what?
Within the what, exactly. The how within the what. Because if you want to understand how the physical world emerges from consciousness in a way, well, you're going to have to do metaphysics in a way, right? So, but they don't touch that. That's why I'm saying the where and the when, if you want to understand space-time and how it can possibly emerge, you know, you have to do metaphysics. And that's where I think they're starting to understand that a little bit. Like Donald Hoffman, for example. He's doing it through mathematics, which is still not really the road, but we can, I think, perhaps get them to understand, look, there's 4 things here. We have, and this is to explain maybe the little diamonds in our logo. There's the zero, the state, the thing you can't describe, the nothing.
The superposition.
And then we have the superposition, which is our paradoxical. So like a superposition is paradoxical, but that is how we're starting to describe that state that we can't describe, is the superposition. That's on one side of the diamond. On the other side, you have infinity. So that is the physical world that emerges, and it's all the numbers, and it's all the physics, all the matter. And then at the very bottom of the diamond, I have truth. It's the language that we use, like symbolism, like symbols and language. So these are like four facets that truly unifies everything. That's why I have the diamond, right? So I think if we can convince academia that reality emerges out of that state in this way, and that it has to be experienced in order to have ultimate truth, then we've really succeeded in a way.
Well, if we can get them to start meditating, we've succeeded.
Like
well.
Sam
Yeah.
Harris, there's a lot of people meditating now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's much more to add. Maybe we can finish it there for the intro. But
yeah, we don't want to get too caught up in our own blah blah.
Yeah, well, that's something we'll have tons of time to do, because here's the thing: if anyone's still watching at this point, the plan is to, of course, include as many people as possible, and I want us to have a Discord where the same thing can happen. People can discuss things, but they might just stay on the TOE Discord, which is fine. Like, as long as if people who want to discuss their theories, anyone, I'd like to invite them to come and we can discuss them. And of course, the ones that are coherent enough, maybe we can create playlists for them. So I'm not just giving it out right away. Like, hey, for example, you'll have your own playlist and you can come multiple times and describe your theory. I won't just give that to people right away. Like anyone.
This has to be a very selective process. We can't just have anyone that wants to come and chat. No, it has to be very cohesive, and legit, I think.
But I also want people to know that if your ideas are cohesive, if you're capable of describing it well, and there's something there, like, I think we are the kind of community that will definitely accept you. We want to talk to you. That's the whole point. We want to talk to unknowns,
Yeah.
And so being unknown has nothing to do with why you can't come and like discuss on this platform. That will never be the reason. I guarantee it. If you're an unknown, that's not a problem. The quality of your ideas is what matters.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I think people saw that with, like, if you look at the thumbnail of the conference that we did, we have such a great hodgepodge of misfits. And it's kind of like, literally, we have an Ashkenazi Jew, we have a transgender Brazilian, we have a black guy, we have, straight white dude. We're all kind of just, and people, I think, can see clearly that identity here truly is something that we're not taking into account. And it's funny because we are in a world that is polarized, a lot of culture wars and identity politics and stuff. And like, what I love about this whole community coming together is people really just care about the ideas. So.
All right, well, let's do it.
So that's a bit of the announcement that I wanted to say. Just to encourage people, like, look, it doesn't matter what you believe in, no matter how much you disagree, if we see value in your ideas because you're bringing to light some kind of piece of truth, even if we disagree in different ways, like, it's amazing. The kind of it's that's what I like about this community. I want to keep it that way. It's not about disagreement. It's not about anything. It's just the ideas and sharing and coming together and really.
And how it affects your actual subjective experience. This has to be inclusive in your life. It can't be a theory that's just out there and has no effect on your life. So this is all about actually having a change in your life for the better.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm a bit of a, what do you call it, neurotic dude. I'm trying to hit that 35-minute mark. So we have less than a minute. So I'm just gonna say.
What's so special about 35 minutes?
I think it's just nice when someone sees a video. It's like 30 minutes or 35 minutes. It's just,
okay.
I'm like one of those dudes. So I'm very quirky. We have a lot of quirky people in our communities. So again, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. I'm going to let you go, and feel free to reach out on the web. I have an email address in the YouTube channel, so just reach out, guys.
We're going to get this figured out.
Theories of Nothing. Here we go.
All right.
All right. Bye.